anytime you come together with community, with people that are going through the same things in life, whether or not they're believers, unbelievers, but everyone's kind of got these common life experiences that unite them. And I think having someone to come alongside you in those moments, like when you sit down and you start talking to people, and there's some element in their life that you can empathize with, that you can relate to, and it gives you a tremendous sense of belonging just to know that you're not alone, like you're not the only one that's kind of been in that place. I was 23 years old and I was just starting in my first church, and I was at an elders meeting for the first time. We were at a campfire in the backyard and of one of our elders, and I looked around, and the next person closest to my age was at least twice as old as me, more than that probably, and they were singing hymns that I'd never heard before. And the guy that was leading it was playing an accordion, and this was like before the accordion became cool again. And I just looked around and I thought, what have I gotten myself into? Like, what on earth am I here for? Like, I have nothing in common with these people. The thing that probably happens more is that you recognize that emotion, that feeling is just, it's normal and it's part of the human experience, but it doesn't define the human experience. So I can recognize how I'm feeling and then choose to engage anyway. And I think more so now I have a recognition that there's value in engaging and starting relationship, even kind of pressing beyond the discomfort of those transition moments, and to intentionally placing myself in the midst of that community. I know that's going to add a value back into my life that isn't necessarily apparent at that moment. There's so much about life that it's just really uncertain. Different phases we navigate, seasons in life where, we are married and trying to adjust to what it's like to now share life with someone, or you have kids, and then that's just a chaotic time of life that leaves you so many unanswered questions. And having community to support all of those different challenges that I'm facing in life is really, it's really given me a blessing that I never anticipated. Like when I was 16, I was pretty sure that if I gave my life to God, my life would be really boring and God would kind of ruin my life, and then I would go to heaven and it would continue, but I thought it would be really terrible. And the thing I didn't realize is that when I decided to actually follow after Jesus, that I became part of this network of people. So at kind of every phase I've gone through in life, there have been times of loneliness for sure, or times where you feel isolated or disconnected, but I also know that I've got a network of people that I can pick up the phone and get in touch with, or just connect with somehow, and that's really given me a sense of I'm not on this journey alone. I've got people that have my back and are praying for me, that I can talk to about stuff, be real with. The thing that's most successful to me is inviting people just to experience that. One of the things I enjoy doing is introducing people that are kind of from different contexts to each other and cross-pollinating. Some of the favorite people in our lives right now are a couple of retirees that have really taken it on to invest in our young kids. We've got a 2-year-old and 4-year-old boy. And so they're kind of like surrogate grandparents. We live here where we're distant from our nuclear family. We're distant from our parents. And anyway, we had them over for waffles the other morning, and we also invited over one of our atheist friends that we're kind of just going through life together with, and to just introduce them to each other and see how they can kind of connect and add value to each other's lives, I think is really, it's powerful. And so when you can invite people into those experiences, sometimes there's a sense of security that comes from having really clearly defined community boundaries, and it's just scary for people to breach those. But when people do that and find that it's a positive experience, then it gives them courage to seek that out even in their own lives. There are always things in your mind because you don't know people that they just say stupid things sometimes, like we all do. Like I've said millions of stupid things. And so, yeah, there's that sense of, okay, I want to make sure they're aware of not everyone here is coming from exactly the same place. So there's some sensitivities there, and maybe even some coaching that takes place. Like, hey, this is just happening in this person's life, so kind of be sensitive to that dynamic. But I think it just makes it more exciting. There's like nothing worse than getting together with a group of people where everyone is exactly the same and identical on everything. It just lacks some spice. A lot of times I think people's greatest strengths are the things that they think everyone is good at, so they don't even think of them as strengths anymore. So some people, it's just second nature for them that if they see someone that's having a hard time, they go and engage and try to connect and say, hey, what's going on? Some people, they just smile at everyone because they're super friendly and that's who they are. So I think those are some really easy avenues, like the value of having someone that will look you in the eyes and say, hey, tell me how your week has been, can really be understated in people's minds, but that adds incredible value to someone else. If there's opportunity for people that want to mentor children, there's opportunities like those to be found in church community for sure. People that have technical skills, people that have entrepreneurial interests, people that have small businesses and they can employ others. There's all these different things, but I would just say whatever your interest is, whatever your hobby is, like if you're a runner, start a running group. If you're into road bikes, do that. If you like bird watching or board games or any of these hobbies, just begin inviting some people into that, and it creates a nucleus that people can really begin to interact with each other and start to belong more. It's really easy to conflate like church with a building, like it's somewhere I go to consume, like you said, or to absorb something that's happening around me. But I think Scripture and my own experience has really been that church it's not a feature of architecture. It's a community of people that are called together to follow Jesus. And so my hope is that people answer that call, that they choose to embrace community, even though it's quirky, it's hard. Like there's so many weird people in a church body just because God's grace is sufficient for everyone. So there's people from just all kinds of backgrounds that come together, but to be humble enough to still become part of that community and not be put off by it, and then eventually to find that you've got something that you can contribute, that you have value that you can add to that group. I really hope people have a sense of belonging, and not just that they belong, but that they can contribute from the core of who they are.